Now, you might have seen a couple of weeks ago on the internet that RM Auctions was dealing with a sale of around 130 cars from the 70s, 80s and 90s, and I saw the pictures of those cars in that warehouse and thought, I've got to see them. Guess where we are? We're with them. This is, and I don't say this lightly, the most extraordinary room full of cars I've ever seen. I don't have the stats, but I think if you looked at my browser history for used cars, more time will be spent looking at used BMW M cars, Alpinas, AMGs, that kind of stuff, and anything else. Those are the cars that, for some reason, I can't get enough of. And I've just walked into a room, well, Alpina, mint. Mint, that's a B7 Turbo, mint. That looks like a 635 CSI, probably an M6. E60 M5 in Europe, paddles, remember that? Big outcry, journalists like me saying it didn't have a manual gearbox like the old E39, but these ones, well, in America they did a 6-speed manual for a while. They're both manuals over here in Europe. I wasn't aware of any others in Europe. I mean, that's special. Opens door, inside, stick. Look at the seat bolster on that car. You show me an E60 M5 doesn't have a collapsed driver's seat bolster. They all do. This one doesn't. Like everything else here, it's absolutely mint. There are three E38 Alpina 7 Series here. There's a 6 litre, a 5.7, another 6 litre. I've wanted one of these ever since I first drove one in 2001. The only place I've ever seen more than one of these was, I think, the Geneva Motor Show. And I think even then they only had 2. There are 3 here. And then you're just drunk on E38s and you think, well, what's behind? Oh, look, there's an E28 mint B7 Turbo. I've not seen one of those in the raw before. So just stay there while I have a bit of a man moment to myself, right there. And breathe in. Okay, right. So this is an E28 with the cloth bucket seats. I mean, look at them. They're just perfect. Look at the steering wheel. Fellow sad people, what's the first thing you do when you approach an old BMW? You look in the boot for the toolkit, don't you? So let's just choose one. This is a 635 CSI. Come here. Come on, Nilo. Pop the boot. Up it goes. Look inside. Undo, undo, undo. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Look. A screwdriver. Why are all the spoilers so good? My spoiler's not as good as that. All the rubber's just right and it's not perished. An extended wheelbase 7 Series. Another one. Oh no, that's older, isn't it? What's that, E32? Oh look, these are rare as well. There's a whole load of 8 Series. That's an 850 Ci, it's an 850 CSI. That's a 5.7, I think. These are rare as you like. Look, it's got a knacker duct on the bonnet. The Aston Martin Lagonda. Neil tells me that's a Tickford. Let's have a look at it. Wheel rim. Tyre. Okay, that is a 15-inch rim. This is a 255/65 R15. It's an Avon Turbo Speed. LJK Setright would love that tyre. Loved an Avon Turbo Speed. Loved a Honda Prelude as well, didn't he? Had a Bristol. I'm not sure if he loved the Aston Martin Lagonda though. I'll go back and look at my old car magazines if I can find out. But just look at it. Come on. I mean, it started out pretty haphazard, but by the end, they've got it nailed. This is a great looking car. It's massive and there's no room inside. But look how cool it is. I want one of these. Right, Neil, I want one of these. We're just going to take a few minutes out because I actually need to go and have a chat with myself. Because I've never seen anything like it. This feels like therapy. Feels like I'm finally revealing how much I like cars of this era. They just excite me. This is where I want to be. And if BMW or Alpina's not your thing, there's always the Mercedes AMG corner. That's actually a lie, because behind you, there's a load more AMGs. But let's start with these. 600. Another 600. Look at these. We've got SLs and SECs. It's an E500. Look how sexy it is with the slightly flared arches. This comes from a time when people understood quietly demonstrating your potential, you know? C126 AMGs. So that's basically the big Merc Coupe from the mid-80s with the wide arch body kit. I mean, it's just the signature thug car, isn't it? It couldn't look better. Come and have a look inside this. Because the 80s was the decade of excess. And the 80s wasn't smug with hindsight. The 80s was proud to be the 80s. And the 80s loved buttons. This seat has 13 buttons alone. This one seat. That means there's 26 across the two of them. And the dashboards and the clock faces and the... You know, when it all goes electric soon, I think I might want one of these. I've never done this before, but I'm taking photos myself, so you just go film something else. Now, I did your deal. We're going to go to the estate car, and I never thought I'd say this. I'm about to walk straight past a 300 SEL 6.3. I won't look at that, because that is one of my dream cars, but we need to ignore that to get to that. That is a W123 Touring estate car, and it's been to AMG, and it has a 5-litre engine in it, which would have been from an S-Class. You might know of a cooler car on the planet than that, but I don't. Look at it. Yes, so that's an SL70, the bored out version by AMG, and that engine became the basis of the, come on, answers on a postcard? You're right. That became the engine that went in the Zonda. And these are now worth a few quid because there aren't any more Zonda engines, so the only way to get a Zonda engine is to buy one of these and do something unspeakable to it. I wonder if you could just sort of live here, have a tent or a motorhome in the middle and just hang out with them. How wonderfully random is this? So, American spec, 280, big bumpers. 280 turbo? Neil loves Z cars. The camera's shaking a bit because he's getting excited. And they just get better. Look at the Targa panels on that. Another 280 in that sort of late 70s, early 80s metallic brown colour. And now we come to the 50th anniversary turbo. You have to see inside this car for the sheer madness of what was going on. Come around this side, Nilo. I'll let you in here. Can you squeeze through there? Look at this dashboard. Can you see that? That is madness. Down here, we have a body sonic amplifier with 2 rotary dials that just say intensity in the middle. We've got electronic dampers. I bet they don't work. And we've got all sorts of amazing things here. It's just the 80s. Climate control. God, it's so cool. Look at the steering wheel. This is all the stuff we're going to miss when the world becomes electric and boring. This is just madness. Look at these dials here. Wonderful. It's got a stick. That's a manual 928 GTS that's done 40,000 miles and is in mint condition. I don't think that's a repeatable proposition. It's even got the kind of purpley leather interior that I want. What you need to know about a 928 is if you mess with the 928's trim, it never goes back the same way. Any interior panel, any exterior panel, a rubber, a union, any of these bits here, if it's been tampered with, will never go back the right way. This car is completely mint. I've never seen one as good as this. These are perfect. The rubbers are perfect. So this isn't a room full of motley old junk. This is a room full of the best cars I've seen. These are absolutely perfect Bentleys. And what's really, really surprising about this era of Bentley now is that when I used to see them as a kid, they looked absurdly big and ostentatious. But of course now, because every car's so big and because people are obsessed with SUVs, these look just the right size for a large motor car to me. What's that one? Is that an early Conti? It looks like it's got big wheels. It might be a special one. Let's have a look. That is a Conti T. Right, so this is really special. 2 calipers. For the big old beast. I love that, from that era. Twin calipers. Still with a disc that you'd see on a Ford Focus. Now we're getting to the era of cars where I actually tested them. So I remember driving one of these when it was new. God, I like that Doris. And this one is definitely in better condition than the one that I saw that came from the factory. It's mint. Absolutely mint. These were really good fun. Renault 5 Turbo 2. Leather interior. 29,000 kilometres. Red. What more do you say? One of the coolest looking cars ever made. I still have no idea what Renault was smoking when they did this, but I'd quite like some. Mitsubishi Starion? Mitsubishi Starion, come on. Have a look in here. This is more 80s than Bruce Willis watching Rocky IV having a beer with Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is the most 80s thing I've ever seen. Look here. Look at this hi-fi. Look at this. Look at these buttons. Look at this steering wheel. Let's think of the etymology of the word Starion in this context, because you must know the story. If you don't know the story, go and look it up online. Look at the ruffled leather. This car's done 9,000 miles. I think the Starion's one of the great looking cars. Name me a car that's got big box arches on it that doesn't look good. There isn't one, is there? Is there a car that's got box arches on it, flared arches like that, that looks bad? There isn't one. E30 M3. So I had to choose one vehicle from this remarkable treasure trove that I've just loved wandering round, and I've chosen one. Here we go. Can you guess what that is? How many cylinders is that? Sounds expensive to me.
Look at this Alpine head unit here. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's got a built-in radar detector and everything down there. It's just so comfortable.
Drive on.
The seat is just glorious.